My name is David Grothas. Today's date is February 9th of 2020. And just recently, President Trump was basically got an acquittal for the impeachment process, which was taking place back in Washington, D.C. by Democrats. And I wrote something I'd like to share with you today. Here are a few points to ponder regarding the Democrats' attempt to formulate sufficient evidence to impeach the president. Number one, President Trump must request evidence regarding any person who violated a federal law. That is his constitutional duty. Number two, regardless of where the actual crime took place, if they are a citizen of the United States, then they are under the president's authority to be investigated, period. Number three, the president did not request fabricated evidence from a foreign government, only substantive evidence if there was any. Number four, if a crime took place in a foreign country by an American citizen, requesting others to only supply substantive information regarding a business transaction is constitutionally legitimate. Number five, these individuals who insinuate President Trump committed a high crime and or misdemeanor for requesting legitimate substantive evidence regarding an actual transaction between an American citizen who happened to be vice president and his son with a foreign business is without merit. Okay, President Trump has a duty to make sure there was no crime committed. So all these Democrats are saying he was doing this because of some future election, and this Mr. Biden was his competitor, which is completely nonsense. He had an actual legitimate question regarding a transaction that took place in the country of Ukraine. These people assume President Trump's sole reason is to investigate this individual, Mr. Joe Biden, was based upon his being a potential contender for the presidency alone. This is without merit. The most significant point is the fact Democrats and some professors who assume he is guilty based on a fictitious motive rather than substantive facts. The idea of interfering with a future election based upon fabricated motive by President Trump is without merit. Mr. Joe Biden actually did a transaction in the Ukraine that could have been an actual crime. If there is legitimate evidence to be discovered, it will be discovered. The Democrats have a legitimate interest to oversee the president's official duties as being carried out constitutionally. Another significant point occurring on this nationwide extravaganza is the Democrats and some professors are collecting answers to questions regarding impeachment, but not collecting one single fact regarding Trump's actions as president. The most ironic point, is how can Trump be impeached for doing his constitutional duty to enforce known laws, which it is his executive job to do? The most extremely important question I have for these Democrats is, since when is it your duty to investigate President Trump for unsubstantiated allegations and hearsay? But you all conspired to do nothing when President Bush decided to invade Iraq with fabricated allegations you deemed unworthy of questioning. You also deemed unworthy of investigation President Obama when he committed not just an impeachable offenses with substantive decisions and evidence, not allegations, but acts of treason on numerous occasions, which every Democrat seems to not want to acknowledge or request documentation for. We're talking about money given to the Egyptian Muslim Brotherhood, $10 billion. We're talking about the Fast and Furious situation where he gave military equipment to Mexican drug cartels, and an American citizen, a border patrol, was killed by one of the guns that he gave to the Mexican drug cartel. This is what real miscarriage of justice looks like when a group of Democrats conspire to fabricate allegations and motives, and then ask legitimate questions of legitimate professors regarding impeachment with absolutely no substantive evidence. The real obstruction of justice involves a group of Democrats, elected representatives, who violate equal justice under the law and the oath of office. Explain to me, do you know what equal justice under the law actually means? That means any individual who commits a crime should be indicted and prosecuted for that particular crime. Now, are the Democrats indicting Obama for treason? Are they indicting Hillary Clinton for treason? Absolutely not. So they are obstructing justice on behalf of the American people. Are these Democrats honoring their oath of office? Absolutely not. Are they providing the common defense by letting illegal aliens roam around the communities in which they represent? Absolutely not. Why did the Democrats not investigate President Obama when he committed treason? Not just impeachable offenses. He did not protect the nation from foreign invasions. President Obama had 15,000 illegals released by Homeland Security 6 months before he left office. This is a fact, not an allegation. How can Mueller and the Democrats overlook both Obama's actual crimes and Hillary Clinton's actual crimes when there is a mountain of substantive evidence and decisions that are both criminal and treasonous in nature? These Democrats and Mueller are obstructing justice by omission and commission, by diversion based upon fabricated, unsubstantiated allegations and hearsay statements. Did you get that? Obstructing justice by omission, by not investigating Hillary, by not investigating Joe Biden, not investigating Loretta Lynch. The decision by Mueller and the Democrats to not investigate President Bush, President Obama, Secretary of State Clinton, Attorney General Eric Holder, Attorney General Loretta Lynch, and Mr. James Comey, and a bunch of others, which have already committed crimes and committed treason, is unconscionable. This in itself is an actual criminal act of conspiring to obstruct justice by not investigating when each have a duty to do so. They are each violating their oaths of office. They are violating equal justice under the law, regardless of which law and who violates it. For Mr. Adam Schiff to commit an actual crime of perjury in the House of Representatives and not be indicted by the Attorney General before the whole world, to fabricate unsubstantiated allegations against the President is an act of treason against every law-abiding citizen. No one is above the law. Our nation has lost its basis of being if when actual crimes that have been committed are covered up and fabricated allegations are assumed true when enough uninformed people are persuaded by unsubstantiated statements. Logic and reason rule over error and oppression. I'm not quite done. When I was a young man, I used to watch a program called Dragnet. Do any of you remember this man? Sergeant Joe Friday. Do you remember the first words that came out of his mouth when he approached a situation? He said, "Just the facts, ma'am. Just the facts." Do any of you remember where this is? This is Alcatraz. It's in the San Francisco Bay Harbor, and it's empty today. I'd like to know why it's empty and not being used today. Do you know what this is? This is a platform for hanging people that commit treason. Here's another platform, a nice one, built for people that commit treason. Do you even remember this? It's a name of a location in Texas where men fought to protect liberty and equal justice under the law. Today, is that happening? Why are there 10 million illegal aliens still roaming around the communities? Do you know what this is? This was an army during the Civil War. These men were ready to fight to die for liberty, justice, and for the truth. Do you see these people? They're soldiers from the Virginia Military Institute. Are they being utilized today to round up illegal aliens and Muslims who are foreign enemies in the United States? My question to you is, why the hell not? Do you see these? Those are cannons used during the Civil War. Why aren't these cannons being used today? Here are some more cannons. They seem to work back in 1864. Why aren't they being used today? Now, what would Mr. John Wayne say about this speech? What would he say to the president today? What would he say to Adam Schiff? What would he say to Eric Holder? That concludes my speech today. You have a great day. God bless you, and good night.